Welcome back to Under Oath. As you know, I have everyone from athletes to actors to producers to famous directors. And today we're fortunate enough to have the mayor of Orange County, Mayor Jerry Demings. Mayor, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm honored to be with you today.
I can tell you, when I get to talk to people, I love their histories normally. Sometimes they just have such creative histories that I'm like blown away by it, because very rarely have I ever known anybody to go from law enforcement, like 20 years as a police officer, to mayor, and then the next step, potentially governor.
Well, that is probably going to be something that is fairly unique. I have been a public servant now. I've started my 45th year of being a public servant. Come a long way from being a street cop here in the city of Orlando. Started out just as a patrol officer. I was fortunate to rise in rank to become the 34th chief of police in Orlando. I was appointed chief of police in 1998. Retired from the agency after 21 years and then became a deputy county administrator. Went to work for Orange County and managed most of its public safety components, including the jail, including the fire department, and several other components. And then in 2008, I ran for sheriff, and I was elected sheriff. I was the 28th elected sheriff and served 3 terms as sheriff. And then after that, on December the 4th, 2018, the first 12 hours of the day, I was a sheriff. And the second 12 hours of the day, I became the 5th elected countywide mayor in Orange County. And so I've been serving as mayor. I'm now in my second and final term with about 1 year left. My term will end in December of 2026.
You know, I got to tell you, there are a lot of things I aspire to, things I want to take shots at and everything else like that. But in this climate, politics are rough and everything you do is scrutinized in every bit. And you've been a police officer, you're now mayor, and you're going, you know what would be a good idea? I think I want to tone it down a little bit and I want to be governor. I mean, is this a conversation you have at the table with your wife, or are you just like going, I think I can do great work here?
Yes, I do believe I can do great work, first off, but it is a conversation that you do have to have with your family, because when you run for political office, your family is running, your friends are running, your coworkers are running. What I mean by that is they all are under scrutiny when you run for elected office. And when you move up to running to be the top chief executive for the state of Florida, that's a big deal. It's a big deal, and there's a tremendous opportunity there to continue my level of service. And so I'm a public servant first, and my style of leadership is one of being a servant leader. I like solving problems. I'm a problem solver. I have been pulled into numerous extraordinary leadership opportunities over the years, from managing such things as dealing with a barricaded gunman situation, a hostage situation, to responding to a terror attack, to being involved in responding to weather phenomena like a hurricane, to now even managing a global pandemic. All of those things are pretty extraordinary for any human being, but when you have been the person that has been in charge or in a strong leadership role where people can die, there's really nothing like that. But I like what I do. So it's not so much like work. I'm simply running now to do what I do, solving problems on behalf of working class people every day. I'm looking to take that to the state level and to broaden out. Quite frankly, I'm like many people. I've grown frustrated with the divisive, toxic politics of today, and I'm looking to kind of bring back some normalcy, some diplomacy to how local governments interact with their state government. Because right now, due to preemptions and other things, it's almost like the federal government believes that everything is federal, and the state believes everything is state related, and they've left the local governments to trying to figure it out on our own without a lot of assistance. So I do look forward to bridging the gap between the state and local governments and getting back to some sense of norms.
A lot of people, when they hop into positions, they have all these great ideas of what they want to do, and then they feel that they're limited, either by their party, the law, the amount of money you can spend. I mean, you have this budget in Orange County. Now you're going to have a budget for the whole state of Florida, and everybody wants a piece of that. I mean, over the last couple of years, what have you done to be able to go, okay, I got to decide what's important and what's not. I can't even imagine the strain of everybody coming at you for something.
What I would tell you is that, yes, almost every need within our community requires some type of financial resolution. Every Board of County Commission meeting, when people come with their various concerns, needs, advocacies, they're coming asking for money to solve those issues. But as a local division of government, we have a finite amount of money. Most of the funds that we receive are generated by ad valorem taxes and then some other assessments or fees that can be charged. And we also get a fair amount of federal dollars coming back into our community and state dollars that come back into our community. But the overwhelming majority of the dollars that we have are not being paid for directly by those who are receiving the services, because quite frankly, some of those people cannot afford to pay for them. I'm talking about people who are homeless, people who struggle with housing affordability. I'm talking about people who can't afford health care. But as a society, as a community, we've got to take care of them. And so how do we do that? And so, yes, I've been trained to manage all of those types of things. And unlike the federal government, a local government cannot spend one dime more than what it takes in, what is budgeted. And so I'm used to that, trying to make things meet and managing a budget. Orange County's budget today is about $8.4 billion. The state's budget is over $110 billion in terms of scale. But none of us have enough money to do everything that needs to be done. But I am a manager of money. I know how to do that, how to make the priorities and how to stretch the dollars and how to also leverage the dollars that we have with private sector investments. Many of these issues that we wrestle with as a community will require the corporate community to also partner with us in coming up with the solutions. We also go to the philanthropic community, the nonprofit world, to help us bridge the gap so that we can adequately respond. But no matter what we do, we don't ever have enough money to do everything that people want us to do.
You know, that's the problem with leadership. You have to make tough choices. And one of the toughest choices is who you hire, because you're only one person. You can't do it on your own. And sometimes I've seen this in the past where people hire people who are completely unqualified to do something for a wrong reason. Oh, he was my friend here, is my friend there. I mean, you've done so many jobs, and I know you know how important it is to get the right person in that job. You know, what kind of vetting process do you do when you're going, okay, this is a serious job? You know, I got to trust the person, but I got to make sure he's got the right skills.
What I look for is, especially in senior leadership, I look for that leadership to come from diverse backgrounds, but I also look for that leadership to be well experienced. I want them to be well trained. You can go to the nation's higher education institutions. You can go to some of the best law enforcement or fire academies to learn your skill. But there still is no substitute for experience. You will not be your best self until you can couple your training, your knowledge, and your abilities with experience. And so for me, I'm well experienced now, after 45 years and a multitude of titles that I've held over that period of time. What I do have is experience. It's easy to lead when things are going well.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to lead when things are going terribly wrong. In my career, listen, I've had to lead when things were going terribly wrong. And as a governor, that is something that a governor has to do, has to be capable to manage the budget, manage the myriad of issues that the state will have, and then manage when the state is in crises. I likely will be the only person that will enter this gubernatorial race that comes with crisis management experience. Well, I've been there when people have been shot. I've been there when people's homes have flooded. I've been there when we had a terror attack. I had to walk through the Pulse nightclub facility. I had to look in the eyes of the men and women who had been in, who saw a terrible tragedy, a mass killing that occurred. I've had to look them in their eyes. I've had to encourage them that they can continue to come to work every day. That is a skill set that few will ever bring to the table, because what I'm saying is that's real life experiences that I've had to deal with. I've had to deal with when my employees were had to come to work during the global pandemic, and some of them were infected with COVID. Some of them died as a result of COVID-19. I had relatives who died as a result of catching COVID. I'm a real human being. I'm probably one of the few people in my 37 and a half years of law enforcement experience. I had to arrest my own brother. I've had to arrest my own nephew in order to break a cycle that they were in. And so I have some common sense solutions to some of the everyday types of problems that average people wrestle with.
A lot of times now we're electing people we like. We don't look at their resumes a lot of times. Oh, I liked what he said. I liked the sound bite. I liked, and this is the culture we're at right now. The louder people scream, the more people are listening, the more entertaining it is. How do you cross over where you're going to go, listen, I have to get people who are not going to be able to listen long enough to my message. I need them to like me. And it seems a silly thing to do. But I guess, how do you get in front of the individuals without, a ton of social media clips?
Well, I'm going to have to run a campaign, and this campaign is going to have to be a grassroots campaign all over the state of Florida. The role that I have today is a nonpartisan role. I did not get elected as mayor of Orange County as a Democrat or as a Republican. I just happened to have been a Democrat. Even as sheriff, while that was a partisan race, I was elected 5 times, 3 general elections, 2 primaries as a Democrat. But out of those 7 elections that I have been involved with, this one is different. It's different. But regardless of how I may get to the governor's mansion, I would represent all the people of the state of Florida, not just those who might be Democrats or Republicans or no party affiliate or other minor parties, but I will be their governor. And so a certain amount of what any politician has to go through is, yes, there's a certain amount of likability that people want to see. A certain amount of popularity, I think, may get you there. But at the end of the day, the people want someone, I believe, who can do the job. The job, no matter how good or bad things may be. They want someone who they can depend on to lead. I believe because of the divisive nature of the partisan politics that we're seeing today, I believe the average person wants to see someone who can bring us back together, who can help unify us across political lines, and may from time to time disagree about the politics of the day, but remain a person that is not disagreeable. In my my 45 years of public service, I like to say that I'm pretty much drama free. I'm not a person that brings a lot of drama to what I'm doing. I try to look for balance. I always will involve the people in making decisions for themselves. That's been my style of leadership. I want to make sure that the people who I put in place can do the jobs that the people want them to do. And I always ask three questions about when I elevate people into senior management roles. I ask a question of them, okay, tell me how what we're doing is going to benefit the people that we serve. The second question I always ask is, what is this going to cost to save? And the third question I always ask is, how is this going to impact our employees? Because I'll be responsible for all of the state's employees. And I can tell you that I'm somewhat concerned about the pay for our state employees. I think it's too low. We have to address that. But I also think that the pay that we're paying average citizens in the state of Florida is too low. I believe that the cost of living in Florida is too high. So I'm going to be laser focused on working with our business and private sector to look for ways to bring those costs down, to look for inefficiencies. And yes, government sometimes has funds and we don't use it in the most efficient way. But I don't mind people holding me accountable for the taxpayer dollars. But by the same token, I hold others accountable for managing the respective areas that they hold. And so, because of my background and my experience, my training, I'm able to manage budgets and situations and incidents, no matter how bad or good they are.
I hear that, and I know everything you've done, and it's amazing, being affiliated with a party that is not technically in the majority, maybe 1 or 2 points off, that you seem to get a large push from the other side. A lot of conservatives vote for you because they like that you were in law enforcement. They like that you understood the need for responsibility and that people be held accountable. And this is a question that I heard asked in California about a year ago when they asked a politician. They said, how do you reach that other side? And the person answered in a clearly negative way, like they didn't understand what it was going to be like to run. Because to me, I was going, are you kidding? You got to hit both sides, especially when you're not in the majority. And I think somebody like you has a chance of breaking over that, where somebody could go, wait a minute, I've seen more than anybody who is trying to get this job right now, and this is what I want to do. So how do you convince conservatives and people who have been stuck in the way, who just check the box on the left side? They just go all the way down. They don't even look. How do you get them to go check that and then move over to the left and then go back to what they were doing?
Well, I've been around a long time now, and most of the people who are running in this race, they may not have a record. I have a record of performing for decades now. And how do you convince them? Again, you got to communicate. And so I will have a whole communications plan of action. I encourage people who want to know more about me. They can go to my website at jerrydemingsforgovernor.org. Again, jerrydemingsforgovernor.org. Also, secondly, I wrote a book this past summer. I'm not trying to sell the book, but if somebody is so inclined, they can go get the book that I wrote. And the title of the book is Believe, Faith, Truth, and the Courage to Lead. Believe, Faith, Truth, and the Courage to Lead. And the book really talks about who I am. One thing about me, I'm going to be my authentic self. I'm not going to just give answers to people that they want to hear. I'm going to tell them the truth about what I think about the issues and how we can together resolve those issues. And sometimes I think politicians get caught up into over promising. But I will make promises about certain things, but I'm not going to over promise. I am who I am, and my background of coming out of blue collar, working class family household that didn't have much, from two parents who never had the opportunity to go to college, a father who worked multiple jobs but took care of his family, to be able to get to the place where I am today, where I can sit with presidents and other heads of state, where I have had the opportunity to talk to kings and queens, but right down to the person who is homeless on the street. I treat all of them with dignity, with respect. I'm willing to have that conversation with the person who can't sometimes offer me anything politically. What they can offer me is a realization that they are a human being, and I treat them that way, like they're a human being. And so that's who Jerry Demings is. If you go up on Amazon, you put in Demings, Jerry Demings, the book will pop up. I started writing the book on June the 21st of this year. I finished writing the book on July the 22nd of this year. The book was self-published on August the 2nd, and on August the 11th of this year, on Amazon, it reached one of the number one bestsellers on Amazon. What a story. The book isn't just about me. It does give some examples of where, as an ordinary person, I've had the opportunity to do some extraordinary things and lead and bring about change to the good for others. But the book really is about the reader, where I'm encouraging the reader to use certain methods to walk in their passion, to live a lifestyle of service where they don't make it just about themselves, where they make it about taking care of someone else, where they believe that they, as one person, can be the change that others want to see. And so I'm a living witness of that. And as I run this campaign, I'm calling it the I Believe campaign, because I am a man of faith. So it does talk about how faith played a role in my maturation during life. But also, I believe faith plays a role regardless of one's religious beliefs. Faith, you got to believe in something. You got to believe that you can do it. You got to believe that you can become your best self. It's about encouraging others to reach their full potential. And so here I am, as I am running for governor. I'm running because I think that I have something to offer. I believe that I can offer some leadership and some solutions to the myriad of issues that average people struggle with every day, because I'm an average person.
I love all that. I think it's important for us to, whatever we have inside, to use that to help others. You wake up in the governor's mansion the first day. Now, this is a generic question. What is that number one priority? On that first day, you go, if I don't get anything accomplished, I want to get this accomplished.
Well, the first day, I will be excited to get to work for the people of Florida. And it is that feeling of excitement that I have. I made it. I'm here now, so let me get to work. If you love what you do, then you've heard it before, then you'll never work a day in your life. And so for me, taking my public service, my servant leadership attitude into the governor's mansion, into the governor's office, is just an extraordinary opportunity. We've never had a person from the Metro Atlanta area serve as governor. We've never had a Black person serve as governor in this state. And so I realized that from day one, not only will I represent myself and my family, but I'll represent a belief that you can be the underdog, and you can win, and you can make a difference. I'll be a shining example, a role model, hopefully, for others to believe that they too can do some extraordinary things. And I won't ever forget that, no matter what happens. And as I would sit in the governor's office, I will never forget the struggle that I had as a poor kid growing up, the struggle that my family had, some of the struggles that I've had in leadership. I won't ever forget who I am. I want to remain my authentic self. And so that's what I would look for that first day. Get up, I made it. Now let's get to work. Let's do what we promised the people of Florida we would do.
I can't thank you enough for making the time. And just so everyone knows, the interview is in a car, but he's been parked for the last 25 minutes. So I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, he's driving. No, he's not driving. He pulled over. He's been sitting in this car sweating in the Florida temperatures for the last 25 minutes. So thank you very much, Mayor Demings, and good luck with everything. And I hope you do what you got to do.
I'm going to work hard to try to convince the people of Florida that I'm the right person at the right time. And you're right. I'm sitting in my car because I'm multitasking these days. I have many demands for my time. I have promised the people of Orange County that I'm going to continue to give them everything I can during this next year with being the mayor of Orange County, and simultaneously give me some grace as I run across the state, as I travel this state, talking to others. If I win, Orange County wins. If I win, Central Florida wins. If I want the working class families to know if I win, they win.
Well,
So thank you for having me on the show today. I look forward to coming back sometime in the near future.
I look forward to having you. Take care, and I appreciate your time.